Run your tongue across your teeth right now. Feel any rough spots, any tenderness, any spot your dentist has warned you about? Now imagine going your entire life without a toothbrush, without floss, without a single dental checkup. For most of human history, that was simply normal. And yet, the teeth pulled from ancient skeletons tell a strange story. They are often straighter, stronger, and far more cavity-free than yours. That shouldn't make sense. No fluoride, no sink, no mouthwash. So what protected them? For roughly 300,000 years, Homo sapiens ate a diet built almost entirely around what could be hunted, dug up, or picked. Meat, roots, nuts, wild greens, seasonal fruit when it was available, and only when it was available. There was no steady stream of sugar, no bag of chips in a drawer, no soda in the fridge. Your ancestors' mouths were bathed day after day in foods that simply didn't feed the bacteria that caused decay. This is where the science gets interesting. Cavities are not caused by food alone. They're caused by bacteria in your mouth that feed on sugar and starch, then produce acid that eats away at enamel. Fewer sugary, starchy foods means less fuel for those bacteria. Less fuel means less acid. Less acid means less decay. It's a simple chain, but it took researchers decades to actually prove it in the archaeological record. In 2013, a geneticist named Alan Cooper led a study analyzing hardened dental plaque called calculus scraped from ancient human teeth. His team sequenced the bacterial DNA trapped inside it, layer by layer, like reading rings in a tree. What they found changed how we understand the human mouth. Before agriculture, the oral microbiome, the community of bacteria living in the mouth, was remarkably diverse and largely harmless. Once humans began farming grains roughly 10,000 years ago, that balance collapsed. Cavity-causing bacteria surged. Diversity crashed. The modern human mouth, dominated by a narrow set of harmful bacteria, was born. Bioarchaeologist Clark Spencer Larson spent much of his career studying exactly this shift by examining skeletal remains from populations that transitioned from foraging to farming. Across multiple continents, the pattern repeated. Hunter-gatherer skeletons showed teeth that were worn down from tough, fibrous food, but largely free of decay. Farming populations, eating softer, starch-heavy diets built around wheat, corn, or rice, showed a dramatic spike in cavities almost immediately after the switch. Same species, same biology, completely different mouths, depending entirely on what they ate. So picture it, a forager kneeling beside a fire, tearing meat from a roasted joint, using her teeth as tools, not just for chewing but for gripping hide, cracking nuts, softening plant fibers. Her diet is coarse, difficult, constant work for the jaw. That mechanical stress actually mattered. Chewing tough food builds strong jaw muscles and wears teeth down evenly. It also happens to be nearly impossible to develop a cavity when there's barely any sugar reaching your molars in the first place. Now here's the twist almost nobody expects. Agriculture, the invention we credit with civilization itself, was in many ways a disaster for the human mouth. Grain gave humans calories in bulk. It let populations grow. It let people settle down. But it also introduced a diet dense in starch, which breaks down into sugar the moment saliva touches it. Suddenly, cavity-causing bacteria had a steady, reliable food source they'd never had before. Anthropologists studying groups like the Hadza of Tanzania, one of the last populations to live largely on a traditional foraging diet, have documented remarkably low rates of cavities compared to nearby farming communities, despite little to no access to modern dental care. The Hadza aren't cavity-free because they're brushing more. They're cavity-free in large part because their food doesn't feed the bacteria that cause decay. There's a second piece to this puzzle, and it's easy to miss. Chewing itself stimulates saliva production, and saliva is one of your mouth's most powerful defenses. It neutralizes acid. It washes away food particles. It even contains minerals that help reharden enamel after a mild acid attack. A diet full of tough, fibrous, unprocessed food means near-constant saliva flow throughout the day. A modern diet of soft bread, sugary drinks, and processed snacks means long stretches where your mouth barely produces the saliva it needs, right as it's under the heaviest sugar assault it's ever faced. None of this means prehistoric life was some dental paradise. Teeth were ground down hard by grit, sand, and stone tool particles baked into food. Abscesses happened. Tooth loss happened, especially with age. Dental anthropologist Peter Ungar, who has spent decades studying tooth wear patterns across human evolution, has shown that ancient diets created their own unique problems, just very different ones from the decay epidemic we deal with now. It wasn't sugar-rotting teeth from the inside. It was raw physical wear, grinding them down from years of hard use. So which trade would you actually take? A life with tougher food, harder wear, but almost no cavities, versus a life with soft, convenient food that quietly destroys your enamel one sugary snack at a time? Here's the mirror. Your mouth today isn't broken. It's doing exactly what any human mouth would do. Dropped into an environment soaked in refined sugar and processed starch nearly around the clock. The bacteria haven't changed. The biology hasn't changed. What changed is the food supply, and it changed almost overnight on an evolutionary timescale. 10,000 years sounds like a long time. To your genes, it's barely a blink. You don't need to gnaw on raw roots or give up bread to protect your teeth. But the ancient pattern still holds a lesson. Less sugar reaching your teeth, more saliva flow, more chewing of real, whole food. That combination protected human mouths for hundreds of thousands of years before a single toothbrush existed. Run your tongue across your teeth again. What you're feeling isn't just enamel. It's the last visible record of a diet your body was built for, slowly being rewritten by a diet it was never designed to handle.